am going to make today some fudge pumpkins. It's just basically 2-ingredient fudge. It's going to be a can of condensed milk and a bag of white chocolate chips. I'm doubling my recipe, so I'm obviously using 2 cans of condensed milk and 2 bags of white chocolate chips. And the only other ingredient, actually, food coloring. So to get orange, I'm going to need equal amounts of red and yellow food coloring, because obviously red and yellow make orange. So it can be as orange as you like, just slightly tinted or big and bold. I'm going to experiment. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 drops of red and 4 yellow. I don't know if those are really drops. They came out, some were pretty big. But basically I'm just going to stir this around until I see the color of orange that I want. Keep in mind when we add the white chocolate chips, it's going to lighten up. But what I'm going to do is just get this hot. I'm going to stir the white chocolate chips into it and combine them. Then it just has to set up. That's pretty cool. All right, so this is looking redder than I want it. So I'm going to add a little more yellow. Maybe a little more. And that's starting to look more orange, like that. I think it's still looking a little pink to me. So a little more yellow. Or a lot. It's just till you get the shade of orange you want. Haha, that's looking better. And notice I'm adding it before I add the chips, because the chips have so much cocoa butter in them, and the food coloring is liquid based, it's water based. So when you have the oil, the cocoa oil, it doesn't want to mix well with the food coloring. So that's why you want to add it to the condensed milk before you add the chips. I think I'm okay with that. It's a little bit dark, but that's okay. Remember, the chips will lighten it up. So it's not boiling, and we don't need it to boil. Just going to add the chips. I'm going to add 2 bags. These are in a sandwich bag, quart-size bag, freezer bag, because I measured them before, just to see how many cups were in a bag. It was 2. 2 cups. But now I'm just going to stir this in, and they're already starting to melt because my condensed milk was hot but not boiling. So obviously this is already starting to melt. When it is combined well, I will add this to a pan. Now I could have just sprayed the pan, that's fine, but what I did was line it with parchment paper. And that does 2 things. One, it helps lift it out, and also less cleaning. Not that I won't wash it, but it's easier to clean. Okay, so notice this is very nicely getting stirred in, so it's melting very well. Just a little more, and then we will add it to this pan. So from here, we'll let it set until it is firm enough where I can take it and roll it into ball shapes. And then I'll put some lines on the side of each of those balls for pumpkins and a little tiny bit of pretzel at the top if you want to make it look like a stem. You don't have to, that's totally optional. But you can do this with peanut butter fudge. You can add peanut butter chips and condensed milk. You can do chocolate chips, milk chocolate, dark chocolate. You can even do butterscotch and, you know, do a little, I've seen a lot of recipes with like Harry Potter's butterbeer, and they call it butterbeer fudge, but it's just made with butterscotch chips. And just stirring it all around, making sure that there are no more chips in it. And it's looking a little bit lumpy, but a little more heat, a little bit of time will take care of that. because we don't want lumpy pumpkins. So just keep stirring. And just that quick, it is looking very, very nice. Remember, anytime you do this, use a spatula that is heat resistant. Not all of them are. Okay, it's looking quite smooth now. So I'm going to turn off my heat and let you see this pan. I'm going to pick it up and I'm just going to pour it in the center. Add all of that in. Okay, I'm going to smooth out my paper here. Sorry, that's quite loud. I'm going to smooth out my paper. Now, if I was going to just cut this and just have square pieces of fudge, I would just make sure it is all smoothed out exactly right. But since I'm going to roll this into balls, I don't need to make sure that the corners are full and, you know, whoever gets a corner piece gets a good piece. We're just going to leave it just like this. And I'm going to put it in the refrigerator until it's set up and it's still quite soft so I can roll it into balls. But yeah, it's ready to go into the refrigerator and then we'll do the rest. Okay, so the pumpkin fudge has been in the refrigerator for several hours and it's nice and firm. Here's the beauty of using parchment. Totally clean. And to the side. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're just going to peel back the sides. And I'm going to first cut it into squares. So the fudge isn't brittle. It's still somewhat soft, which is exactly what we want. That way we can mold it with our hands. I'm not going to cut all that for you. You get the idea. I'll cut a few of these. And yes, they're not all exactly even, but that's okay. I'm going to take one, and because it is still soft, we can, with clean hands, I just washed my hands too, by the way, we can take a piece of fudge, roll it around into a ball. Okay. How cool is that? And nothing on my hands. I'm just going to take a plastic spatula. You could use a knife, butter knife or something. And I'm just going to put little lines going around the pumpkin. And pumpkins can be tall, they can be short. They don't all have to be exactly the same. And this part is completely optional, but I put the lines in the fudge. And now I'm taking some mini pretzels and just broke off a curve so it looks like it has a stem. Okay, so there's the first pumpkin. Let me show you one more. Take a piece of fudge, roll it around. Make it as round as you can get it. Put the little lines in it. You can do totally symmetrical like this, or you can just eyeball it. And if you want to make it a shorter, squattier pumpkin, just smush. And I'm going to put another pretzel on the top of this one. Isn't that cute? Okay, I hope you try these sometime. Lots of fun to do and pretty tasty too. Talk to you soon.